As someone who grew up in the Southeast and never made my way to the opposite side of the country, I've never even seen a desert in person. Naturally, when I got my first bird dog and started upland hunting, I found myself curious what it might be like to hunt desert quail. So when my buddy Harold pitched the idea to hunt Arizona this past January, we loaded up the truck with the dogs and made the 25-hour hike. It became apparent immediately how special or unique this region really is. There were countless moments throughout the trip that just the surreal landscape in of itself made us stop and look around to take it all in. The dramatic shifts in weather met us with a bit of everything from getting rained out by storms the first 2 days, sleet in the middle of our first real hunt, starting the days around freezing temps just for it to creep up into the 70s and even 80s throughout the day, then ending the week and driving home in a snowstorm. One thing was for sure, the desert will keep you on your toes as you try to figure out the new terrain and the new birds. Later on in the week, we get into scale quail and a little bit of merns, but we kicked it all off with Spencer Danes of AZ Quail Adventures chasing and learning about the Gambels Quail, a very cool bird that presents numerous challenges as you'll see throughout this video, whether it's the terrain they're found in, the challenging shooting, or the constant running. These birds can very quickly humble both hunter and dog.
The area where we are right now is kind of an upper flat, but in the desert there's no such thing as really anything super flat. You're going to walk for a few hundred yards and you'll see a wash. And the depth of those washes kind of depends on the area where you're in. Right here these washes aren't super deep, but they're full of trees. And we've had rain for the last 2 or 3 days. Gambels quail roost in trees. So they'll be up in the trees, and now you can see we're starting to get a little bit of a clearing. We're clearing off just a little bit and it's drying out just a little bit. These Gambels quail have been stuck in these trees the last couple days. They're going to be bailing off the trees and starting to feed up the ridges between these washes. Because I don't care if the dogs point a covey. If they blow a covey, that's fine. I want to find the covey. Once we find the covey, put it in the air, watch where it lands, and then head that direction so the dogs can start to work the singles that'll hold, and that's where we get the best dog work. Once we get over into where the covey came down, I may or may not only shoot pointed birds. If I have my older dogs on the ground that are good retrievers and they kind of know the game, they'll kind of almost act as flushers. They'll still point when they're right on top of them, but if something gets up at my feet or behind me or 10 yards away and the dogs aren't there, we shoot it. Okay. If I see the dog wind it and try to rip it out, I don't shoot it. I don't want to encourage that. But
so you're not encouraging them bumping or ripping birds,
right?
But if it's a wild flush, they happen to just run over in the wrong wind angle, you're out here to shoot the birds,
right? And it's also not even just the dogs running over at the wrong angle. 9 times out of 10, it's me. Mm-hmm. Like it'll get up at the bush right there, and the dogs are over there or over there.
Yeah,
like they didn't do it, I did it.
Right.
Right. Well, if I flushed it, I'm shooting it.
Yeah, and I think that's important because a lot of people misconstrue work birds or bump birds with wild flush birds. A wild flush is what you just described. Dogs over there, you're over here, they flush. To me, that's fair game.
Right.
I'll shoot that with my own dogs. But to your point, when a dog, if they wind it and they just ignore it and then go right on in, no, I'm not shooting anything.
Not rewarding that behavior at all. Absolutely.
So down here, we're kind of in this draw. You can see it's a lot thicker, nastier, woody down there compared to up here to where you just got some shrubs and everything. When you're working this, are you just staying on the outside, or are you getting in there busting cover, or is it worth even getting a higher elevation and trying to let the dog work down from up there?
So I always like to kind of pick a little bit above the thicker cover, not all the way up on top of the ridge, especially like it's a type of mesquite shrub right there. I don't know what it is, but Gambels quail don't really like it. They might flush into it for escape, but they won't be in it because generally the ground cover is really thin. And a lot of that has to do with scenting, right? I mean, if there's a bunch of them, there's obviously more scent for a dog, but if you look at the ground cover, it's like rock. Right? And if there's a bunch of them just running on the rock and this wind is blowing it, they're so small they don't put out much scent. The dog doesn't pick them up as well unless they're right dead downwind.
Point. So Rachel went on point back there, I don't know, probably 50, 60 yards there. Ended up, we got the covey over here. Like you said, they're runners. We all know that. That's what I got to experience, that they got out just out of range of me. But now that we scattered them, this is what you're talking about. It's not so much the covey rise, it's hunting the singles.
Right.
And then you even talked about earlier off camera that you might even use a call from time to time in this scenario.
And from time to time, generally speaking, on the initial covey flush and then we go hunt the covey, I won't necessarily call. But when we get over there and start to scatter the covey some more, at that time sometimes we'll sit and just bring the dogs in for water for 5 or 10 minutes, and we may start to hear them call, or I'll call to try to get one of them to answer me back to figure out where a couple more are.
Okay.
Where we can go.
So looking at this, is there anything that screams to you, obviously there was a covey here?
No.
Like just habitat wise, it kind of like you
Well,
talked about
remember,
earlier, it all kind of looks the same in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think because it's the sun's come out, they're up here on these flats, getting out, you know, drying off and that sort of stuff. And so I think Rachel picked them up, but if you notice the terrain that we're in, most of the ground cover is just bare.
Right.
Right? So that's why she picked them up from 50 yards. But when she picked them up 50 yards ago, they were probably 20 yards in front of her.
Probably.
Maybe 30.
I think I saw one
And
running.
then, yep,
and
they
I'm like,
ran. And then, you know, she did a good job by relocating because she put enough pressure on them to get them to stop somewhere long enough for her to reestablish a point.
and then get up.
And they were a little she was maybe a little too close. But them hearing you come in made them nervous, and then they got up. And that's perfectly fine.
All right.
We're not, Gambels quail is not a covey rise shoot.
Yeah.
Mearns quail, bobwhite quail, covey rise shoots. Scaled quail, Gambels quail, not so
Pick
much.
the singles.
Oh yeah, they're running down in the bottom. Easy pace.
I missed both. I missed both.
Whoa, pace. Whoa, whoa, pace. Whoa. Where's the sweetheart? Oh! No! I hate failing my bird dog. Son of a, I didn't.
Whoa, pace. Whoa, whoa, pace. Whoa. Where's the sweetheart?
Oh! No!
Oh, maybe we got something here. Rue. Yep. Good girl, Rue. Yep.
Bring it here. Come on. You gonna bring it all the way to me or stop short like you usually do? Stop short like you usually do, little bugger. All right, good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. Yeah, that was a good girl. Oh, Paisley, stop it. That was a good girl. All right. So that would be a hen Gambels quail. It only took me 6 shots to hit one. Don't grip it tight. That is a little piece of Cholla Cactus. And when your dog gets it, the first thing they want to do is mouth it.
And then it gets stuck in their mouth.
It's stuck in their mouth and their tongue, and if they get it like in their back paw, they'll sit down to try and get it. And if they're under one of those Chollas, there's a whole bunch of them on the ground.
Come away with it.
And they sit in it, and then they spin, and then they bite it, and then they spin, and then it's in all 4 feet in their mouth. Yes, but if you get 1 or 2 in there, your best option right there is a comb. Best $2.50 you'll ever spend on hunting gear. The thing about them is you can kind of see how they grow in these little patches, right? These little arms, if you will. So when you brush past it, what'll happen is these will fall like that, and then you'll see them, they kind of litter the ground around the bottom. And an inexperienced dog will run kind of close and pick them up in their feet. And that's kind of, you want to, if you see a bunch of this, just don't with a dog. Like if you want to shoot a limited quail, and you don't mind shooting them on the ground and kicking them up, and you're not running a dog, find the nastiest of this you can and hunt it. There are birds there. Like if you don't have a dog and you just want to go hunt, find Cholla Cactus, a bunch of it, and you will find birds.
We got one. Had some dog work.
Yep.
But it's been a long walk. So far this has quite frankly sucked. We have some calling. We're gonna go see if we can get on them, and then we're gonna hit other wash. We're a couple miles from truck. We'll hit the wash and go back up to the truck, and then
Where'd they find birds there? Right there.
Right here.
Nice
Got
shot.
him.
Nice
Got
shot.
him.
That's a male. Pretty male.
Yeah.
Good
Pretty
girl.
male.
fetch. Good. Here. Whoa. Search.
Thank you.
There it goes. There they go. Finally shot okay. Dead bird next. Dead bird, dead bird, dead bird, dead bird, dead bird, dead bird. Dead. I know where that one is. Let's find this other one. Dead bird. Where is it? Dead. Dead bird. Oh, good girl, Lucy. Lucy's got one. Dead bird. I'll go ahead and get that one. Ah, yes, finally shot. Did you get that one Lucy brought to you?
Yeah, I did.
Wait.
Hold on, let me.
Nice. Little Gambels double, baby. Love it when it happens like that.
Whoa. Whoa.
This is the type that they'll roost in. You can see there's good cover. It's really thick in there. It keeps them out of the elements, keeps them away from hawks, up off the grounds, away from coyotes. And if you look, if you get close to this, you can see that this is like every other desert tree. Your little thorns on every branch.
Trying to kill you.
Pretty much trying to poke you, yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to exact its revenge on you walking around out here.
Yeah. And so they come in here in inclement weather. Do they come in here on a nightly basis?
Nightly
too?
basis, yeah.
So it doesn't have to be rain and windy and all
No,
that.
this
This is where they're roosting.
They're roosting in things like this at night.
Okay.
Up off the ground. Now Gambels are of the 3 species we have here, Gambels are the only ones that roost up off the ground.
The scales and
Scales and
stay on the
merns, they get a little circle, all huddled together, all facing out.
Oh, there's one running in front of us. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, what? That 7th one just flew. Well, let's go. I started to say that's quail hunting in the desert. You get to a point, you see them running, they're only 40 yards in front of us running, and we can't get them up in the air.
Little buggers.
Thank you. That was the one I saw running.
Hen bird. Ow, mother. Okay, that's it. Enough catclaw out here. I've cut my hands, I've cut my lip. I'm putting my gloves back on. This bush right here is called a Catclaw Acacia. This is the one that I kind of know because it sucks. It just looks like an unassuming stick until you get close to it. And every branch has like little rose thorns. They just look like cat claws. And as you walk past, they snag everything and they're sharp. The worst part is when it's hot, which it is often in the desert, you're usually not wearing gloves. So you'll be walking along and there'll be one that's sticking up in just regular bushes. You don't pay attention to it and it snags the tip of your finger.
And that'll be your trigger finger.
That's your trigger. That's the worst. So, and then if you don't have good brush pants and you find yourself in a patch of these, I have people that'll come away where their legs are just scratched, just bloody.
Happy with life.
Yeah.
So you look around, it's like cactus, cactus, cactus. Oh, shrub, you walk on by, and then boom, it's
yeah,
catching you.
and it just sticks you. And it catches into everything, right? So it's like
everything's after you one way or another.
Yeah, the desert, everything's trying to stick you and hurt you for being in its element. That's how things live out here.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. You get it? Dead bird. Dead. Good girl, Lexi. Bring it here. Bring it here. Hey. You doing a victory lap with it there, dear? Atta girl. Atta girl. All right. Those are pretty male. Try that one. Give me some 20 gauge shells though. I don't have any. Kind of interested. I hope we do because I want to shoot it side by side. I've never really shot. Hey, I shoot that okay. Huh. My first kill with a double with a side by side. You find it for me, Luce? Dead bird. You got her? Oh, I got her. Yeah, you got her. Atta girl. Can I have it, or are you gonna take it to your dad? I get it. You don't love me. Okay, I might need another shell. All right. That was good stuff. Thank you. Good girl, Lex. You got him? Okay. Did you get it? Oh, there's 2 triggers.
There are always some steep learning curves and rough times when starting off hunting new birds in new country. You're not the only one trying to figure things out though, as the dogs are new to it as well. There are a couple primary takeaways from my first Gambels Quail hunt, the first of which is that people are not exaggerating in regards to just how much these birds run. Next, you add in the adjustment to the scenting conditions in this region, and you have a style of hunting that can prove a steep learning curve for some pointing dogs regardless of their experience elsewhere. Both of these takeaways are elements of a hunt that with enough time and reps, I think most pointing dogs would figure them out. That being said, my mind couldn't help but wonder what hunting these birds with a good quality flushing dog might be like one day. All in all, this was a great start to our desert quail adventure. I got to knock off a new species from the list, I got to see enough examples of quality dog work that kept me optimistic and excited for the rest of the week. I also got to know and hunt with a new friend in Spencer Daines. Overall, I couldn't ask for a better start, and if this was how the trip kicked off, I couldn't wait to see how the rest of the adventure played out. So be sure to hit subscribe down below so you can be sure to follow along with us on the next hunt.